I recently built a gaming setup so I could play some games in my office, but I quickly realized that I never used it. Especially ever since I got the Asus ROG Ally X handheld gaming device. After I got that, I kinda didn't think I needed it. So today I'm gonna revamp it a little bit and make it into the ultimate productivity setup where I can answer some emails, do some video calls and just surf the internet. The first thing to do is to remove the gaming PC because instead I'm gonna use my 15-inch MacBook Air M2. Though it has a year on its back by now, it's still a great laptop. I have a powerful PC that I use for all kinds of editing, motion graphics, 3D and VFX. So for the productivity setup, I don't need the PC to be extremely powerful. I just need an easy way to be able to insert a laptop and do some administrative stuff. Your desk setup can easily become extremely cluttered with cables everywhere if you have to plug in a lot of stuff, which I usually do. The reason I've never used my MacBook Air M2 15-inch together with my monitors was simply because I always ran out of ports. Because apart from having to connect the MacBook up to my monitors, I also have a lot of other things I usually connect, like an external SSD, a CF Express Type A card reader, and sometimes even my NAS system. So it wouldn't be very efficient for work at home. Before I've used a dongle for connecting my MacBook, but it has very limited ports and it really isn't that neat looking when set up, because the cables are out of the sides everywhere and it just looks horrendous and doesn't work that well as well. This right here is the Ivanki Fusion Dock Pro 1, which is a USB hub or docking station designed for the M1, M2 and M3 MacBook lineup. The biggest issues with the MacBook Air is that it has a very limited amount of ports and they also don't support monitor output for more than a single monitor, which is a bit of an issue in my opinion. But this docking station from Ivanki fixes that. It has a lot of connection options and actually fixes the single monitor problem because in the back it has 3 HDMI 2.0 connections. So you can connect up to 3 60Hz monitors and the MacBook Air won't have any problems even outputting the image to those 3 monitors. Something you have to be aware of with the docking station is that the other 2 HDMI ports are driver based, which basically means that you have to download some software or some drivers for more than a single monitor to work. Just something to note. So if you're struggling and trying to plug the cable in and out, this might be the reason for why it's not working. Because it won't work if you don't have the software downloaded to your Mac. Just thought I'd let you know. It is a little sad that it doesn't have DisplayPort outputs back there, simply because that's what I mostly use, but that's a minor issue. A thing I really like about it is that you can create a super minimal setup, because when you come home, you only need to insert a single USB-C cable to the MacBook for it to power a lot of things, which kinda makes it so your laptop becomes a hybrid machine where it's both a laptop and a desktop PC. And when you plug in the USB-C cable to the laptop, it even sends power out to your laptop. So it'll also be fully charged when you actually leave again. So it has some phenomenal features. My MacBook doesn't need that big amount of power, but if you have something that's a little more power hungry, like the MacBook Pro, I can tell you that the upstream port has the ability to charge with up to 100 watt. So plenty of power for all the current MacBooks. The only bad thing about this docking station in my opinion is that it's only made for MacBooks. Because I would have loved to also be able to plug in my Lenovo laptop or my Ally X, but that doesn't work. For this to be an optimal setup for me, I need some extra storage, because the 512GB internal storage my MacBook Air has is not quite enough. So luckily the docking station has a lot of USB-C and A ports. If I also wanted to connect my NAS to my MacBook, I would also be able to do so, since the docking station has a 1GB per second Ethernet port. I would have loved for it to be 10GB per second, so I could use my NAS system at its full potential, but for most people I think 1GB per second is more than enough, especially if you only intend to use it for your internet connection, which I know is how most people will use it. One of the USB-C ports also supports a 20-watt power output, so if you want to set up a wireless charger like me, it's super easy. Just insert it in, and now you can easily charge your other devices. What I do for a living is that I'm a photographer, videographer and drone pilot, so I also truly appreciate the SD card and micro SD card slot in the docking station as well. And actually having them as two separate inputs are great, because then I don't need to use an adapter for the micro SD card. And well, I can also take footage from both slots at the same time, which is super nice. It truly is a great way to get a lot of the cable clutter away from your table, while also providing a lot of inputs and outputs for things you might want to use at home. And well, it also fixes the issue where you can't run 3 monitors with the MacBook Air. So that's great. This video is not sponsored by Ivanki, but they did send me the Fusion Dock Pro to try out, and I absolutely love it. If you're looking to pick one up for yourself, I'd highly appreciate it if you used my affiliate link in the description below. To get the most out of a setup like this, you absolutely need to connect mouse and keyboard. So the keyboard I use for the setup is the Asus ROG Azoth 75% keyboard. It's a great hybrid keyboard designed for both PC and Mac. It even has the Windows and Mac symbols on it, so it's easy to identify what correlates to what, even though it's mainly designed for a PC user, since it's a mechanical gaming keyboard. The mouse I've chosen to use for the productivity setup shouldn't come as a surprise, since this is without a doubt the best productivity mouse on the market. It's the Logitech MX Master 3. It's not the S version, which is designed for Mac systems, but it still works phenomenal with the MacBook anyway. It has a great ergonomic grip, an amazing infinity scroll mouse wheel, great horizontal mouse wheel for scrolling sideways on websites or scrolling a timeline within editing software, which is super nice. And even with a Mac, it's super easy to swipe through the different pages by holding down the thumb button and swiping from side to side. You can also go back and forth super easy with the buttons right below the sideways scroll wheel. And if you want to connect more than one device to it, it's also possible to connect up till 3 devices. I bought this mouse 3 years ago, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that it's still the best one out there for a productivity setup like this. The monitors I use for this setup really isn't anything worth talking about, because there's nothing that makes them spectacular for a productivity setup. So we'll just skip them. They're great for gaming, but for productivity I would absolutely love to have another pair. To stay productive throughout the day, I often use headphones for just listening to music or taking video calls and stuff like that. Here I usually opt for the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 SE, which is a pair of super sleek and minimal designed headphones. They deliver great 24-bit audio clarity, so if you have a subscription service that supports that, you'll be really happy with these headphones. You also have active noise cancellation and a transparency mode. And well, they just looks great and fits great on my head. For video calls, I often also connect my UpSpot Tiny 2 webcam, which is a webcam that actually tracks you around. That's cool. It has some AI intelligent features, but I have already covered that in another video. It's at least a great little camera for video calls, and the image quality also looks spectacular. So I highly recommend that camera as well. So is this the ultimate productivity setup right now? No, but it has potential to become great. What I'm gonna do in the future is that I'm gonna change out the table, because in my opinion it's simply just too damn small. I've had it for a few months by now, and it really is quite annoying not having a bigger tabletop. Another thing I'd like to change in the future is also the monitors, as well as the gas arms holding up the monitors, simply because the monitor arms are at its highest position right now, and for me, since I'm a rather tall person at 192 centimeters, around 6.4 feet, I think. It simply is too low of a position they can go to, and I would also like for the table to be able to be raised. And right now it doesn't have that ability. So there's a few things that I need to switch out. But the things that I've changed to make it into a productivity setup really are some things I'm really happy about actually. The docking station especially makes it a super nice and minimal setup that still has a lot of functionality. So I actually really like that docking station. That was all for this video. So leave a like and please subscribe to my channel because we are getting so close to the 1000 subscribers by now. And it would be really nice if we could hit that very soon. I would really appreciate that. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. I'm out.